Hello, Watem here, and welcome back to some more Higurashi When They Cry. Um, yeah, so we haven't had that yet. We haven't had that yet. Pretty sure we haven't had that or the death of Kozumi Sensei. Since we've been doing a lot of the lead up to stuff. Yeah, we've had a bottle of wine for a taste. Not sure about Tomitake's promise. Well, that might be the camera part, and we have had the draft of an emergency manual. Yeah, I think we'll go for this for a change of pace. A roll of 1 on how many sided dice. It happened so suddenly. Uncle Kozumi passed away. I never heard he was ill or wasn't feeling well. His chest started to hurt suddenly, and he couldn't sleep. He called an ambulance for the first time in his life because he didn't think he could endure the pain. He was taken into emergency care, but he didn't live to see the morning. It was an acute myocardial infarction, but maybe it was the best possible way to go. Instead of being in bed for many years, slowly dilapidating and withering away, he was healthy until his death, so I think he must have lived a wonderful life. But still, it was too sudden. I wish I'd called him Uncle more. It's too late though. Uncle Kozumi would never smile at me again with his wrinkly old face, no matter how many times I called for him. He was my guardian until now. He always looked after me, making sure my efforts received proper recognition. Maybe he only did that because he couldn't help my grandfather when he was alive. But still, he was an important person to me. He wasn't just my political backing. But I didn't realize that when he was alive. I thought of using his power for my own agenda. But after he died, I realized. Uncle Kozumi was my grandpa too. Oh, he provided the warmth and protection that I longed for from my own grandfather. At his funeral, I shed tears that I thought I'd forgot how to.
おじいちゃん、今までありがとう。もっとおじいちゃんって呼んであげればよかったね。
No matter how many times I called to him, he would never reply. What I can do for him at this point is complete my research. I must accomplish my goal for his sake. When my grandfather's research is finally acknowledged, Uncle Koizumi's name will be known once again for being the sole supporter of his endeavor. I believe that's the best way to repay him for everything he has done. I vow to devote myself to my work even more from this day on. But, unfortunately, hardships and sadness tend to come together. It was like the tailwind that blew steadily until today suddenly became a headwind. The winds shifted far too suddenly. So strong, so cold, so sad.
どういうことなの、ジローさん。
Huh?
うん。小泉先生が入江機関設立の立役者だったのは高野さんも知ってるよね。関係機関でなかなか承認の取れなかったのを小泉先生が強力に抑え込んで無理やり通させたって話なんだよ。
With him holding the camera, I'm just imagining him doing this conversation and every now and then just taking a snap.
何しろ医薬品業界で絶大な功績を挙げられた戦後日本復興の重鎮だからね。政財界に絶大な影響力を持たれていたし。
その小泉先生が亡くなって、小泉先生が通した無理やりが通らなくなったということ。
あくまでも噂なんで本当のところは僕にもわからないんだけど、一部の予算配当やプロジェクトの見直しが行われるらしいというのを聞いたんだよ。
Ah.
入 機関が廃止されるということ？
いや、入江機関を見直すというのは聞いたことないけど、ただ小泉先生の死後、長老たちの派閥や勢力、後継者争いがややこしくなっているってもっぱらの噂なんだ。すでにクライアントの人事にかなりの影響を与え始めてるらしいんだ。それで小泉派が主導していたプロジェクトや聖域予算に対し締め付けが行われるんじゃないかって憶測が飛び交ってるらしいんだよ。もちろんそれらは全て僕にとって雲の上の話だからね。伝え聞いた噂話でしかないんだけれど。
Jiro-san kept saying they were rumors. That told me the wind's direction has changed. Or maybe Jiro-san already knows everything and is simply trying to warn me about it. And then, at our next routine audit, Jiro-san made it clear with his own mouth. High-ranking government officials who had never come here before attended a routine audit along with Jiro-san. Just by seeing those faces, I can tell that the turning point is approaching.
ご存知の通り、アルファベットプロジェクトは戦後日本の国際的な地位向上を目的としたものです。ですが、すでに昭和も50年代に至り、西暦は21世紀を間近にしております。
In this day and age, we must put the past behind us and start looking forward to a new world. He meant exactly what he said. Japan has already put the past behind, and it's cutting off its ties to the ghosts that wish to resurrect the militaristic might of the pre-war era.
戦後40年間、我が国は世界への平和的貢献を模索し、国際的地位を確立するに至りました。日本は国際社会において重要なポジションを担う国家として成熟し、来世紀にはますますにその存在感を強めることでしょう。
The Alphabet Project, the main sponsor of the Irie Institute, are a group of people who want to develop a weapon that would act as a deterrent to the nuclear weapons which Japan is forbidden to own. So they've come to the Irie Institute, one of its branch organizations, to tell us Japan has now renounced nuclear arms. So the Irie Institute will be facing a strong, cold headwind from now on. The roll of the die that came up with one that stormy day has reappeared. I won't let the result of the die affect me. The power of my will won't be beaten by some god's roll of the dice.
よって現在時代に即した形になるようアルファベットプロジェクトの見直しを進めています。新生アルファベットプロジェクトは国際交流と経済発展の二軸からなる平和外交の見地から日本の地位向上を模索していくことになるでしょう。
All of the people who hold tremendous influence in the politics and economy of Japan were born before the war, so naturally if they want to regain the glory of pre-war Japan. The very idea that we can win next time if we research the new bomb that defeated us is itself a spectre of war. No, everyone already realized that. It was just that no one could speak out against the grandstanding elders they owed their gratitude towards. Soon the old will wither away, and the new generation will take control. Uncle Koizumi was, in a way, the last remaining pillar for the old generation. His death is a chance for the new generations to step in. The things they couldn't argue openly are now being discussed. They've pointed out that from the beginning, the Alphabet Project was created for the personal satisfaction of a small group of people that sucked money out of the treasury. And so, the new generation of politicians have taken over from the old.
よってアルファベットに関わるすべてのプロジェクトで今後大幅な予算の見直しが図られていくことになります。これはもちろん入江機関も例外ではありません。どうかご了解をいただけますようよろしくお願いいたします。
See the picture of himself.
わかりました。私たちもスポンサーあっての研究です。どうか よろしくお願いいたします。
Irie responded appropriately, but he's obviously bewildered. The best equipment and staff are being provided to the Irie Institute. In other words, our research requires a huge amount of money. For those with no interest in Hinamizawa syndrome, they probably won't be able to understand why that much money is being put into research of disgusting parasites. If they're simply going to revise our budget, that would be fine. We are receiving more than enough money. That would, naturally, be adjusted. It hurts, but we can endure. That's what I thought. But if just enduring it was enough, I wouldn't be a one on the die. It wouldn't be a one on the die. So even in that sense, this is definitely a roll of the die coming up as one.
でありまして、この4月に新体制の理事会が発足し、全プロジェクトに対する新方針が示されました。これにつきましては、お配りします資料をご覧ください。
His papers were then passed around. He started to go over the details, but I read through quickly so I could learn about their stupid decisions first.
入江機関はこれまで先進的な研究において数々の目覚ましい成果を上げられ、未知であったひなみざわ症候群の全貌解明、そして治療薬の開発を成し遂げました。理事会でもこの成果は大変に高く評価しています。これもすべて入江所長以下入江機関全職員のたゆみない努力によるものと思っております。
いえ、恐縮です。
Even while he received their congratulations, a tense atmosphere surrounded me and Irie. It's customary to start the conversation with the opposite way you're planning to take it, before delving into your main point to convey. If the main issue is something good, then start with something bad. Or vice versa.
入江機関の研究目的は2つありました。ひなみざわ症候群の研究と治療法の確立、そして多面運用の模索です。新生理事会はこの後者の多面運用の模索については即時の中止を決定しました。これらの研究開発が国内で行われていた事実と痕跡は今後はむしろアキレス腱になりかねません。入江機関は直ちにこれに関わるすべての研究を中止し一切を破棄してください。
わかりました。ご指示に従います。
Irie replied with that immediately. Irie was assertive about finding a cure, but was never even remotely interested in researching the disease's use for military purposes. So I'm sure he has no qualms about concurring with such demands. But I don't agree, because our research will be more limited if we're just trying to find the cure. To me, finding that cure is simply a byproduct of my larger goal of discovering everything about the syndrome.
また、入江機関につきましては、最長3年以内をめどに研究の収束を図ってまいります。予算もそれに合わせ段階的に縮小する方針です。
ちょっと待ってください。近年ようやくひなみざわ症候群の全貌が分かり、今まさに治療法の研究を進めているところです。確かに研究は日々進んでおりますが、3年という短い期間で確実に完成させられることをお約束はできません。
理事会では入江機関はすでに治療薬について十分な研究を完成させているという認識です。すでに入江機関は治療薬 C117 を完成させ、その臨床データを多数。
いえ、完成なんてとんでもない。まだまだ試薬の域を出ず、村人全員を治療できる目処は全く立っていません。このような段階で研究終了ありきでの議論は全くもって無謀としか言いようがありません。
I'm surprised that Irie objected. Thanks to him, I didn't have to say anything. But if Irie hadn't objected, I'm sure I would have shrieked in protest.
それでは入江機関には現時点では感染者全員を治療し、ひなみざわ症候群を撲滅することは不可能だということですね。
そうです。もちろん村人全員の治療とひなみざわ症候群の撲滅は将来的には不可能なことではありませんし、私もそれを最大の目標にしています。ただそれには十分な時間が必要で、そのためには無論予算も必要です。私たちは調べ、実践し、 確立する仕事をしています。設計図に従って物を作り、期間があれば必ず決まった成果が出せる仕事とは事情が違います。どうかそこを誤解なさらないようにしていただきたいです。
I guess Sirio speaks out when he needs to. What he's saying is absolutely right. Research isn't something guaranteed to produce results with money and time. But I disagree with some of the things he said. He's objecting about the time and the money, but he's basically agreeing to limit our research only towards finding a cure for Hinamizawa syndrome. That won't do. We won't unravel any mysteries that way. At that rate, the discovery of the Hinamizawa syndrome won't be recognized as my grandfather's great achievement.
なるほど。入江所長のおっしゃることもごもっともと思います。私どもにとっての最大の目的は、軍事目的の研究が行われていたことの完全な破棄です。よって、ひなみざわ症候群という特殊現象が研究されていた痕跡と、そもそも存在していた事実についても隠蔽すべきであると考えます。
I mean, it wouldn't really. They just have to. If they release it, they can just say that they were studying it to try to find a cure after several people died during the war from some mysterious illness.
最終的にひなみざわ症候群が世間に知られることなく撲滅されるならば、そのための期間と予算は必要不可欠なものでしょう。それについては今後協議を重ねていくということでよろしいでしょうか。
はい、依存ありません。
では入江機関はできるだけ早急にひなみざわ症候群撲滅を秘密裏に行えるプランと予算案を作成提出してください。極力ご指示を汲み取れるよう努力します。
わかりました。早急に提出いたします。
誤解ないようにしていただきたいのは、私どもはあくまでも研究を直ちに中断させようというのではなく、円満な形で研究を終了させようということです。この違いをご理解ください。
ええ、もちろん理解しております。
While I was listening to their conversation, I was struck dumbfounded with something they said. Eradicating the syndrome in secrecy. In other words, would it be as though Hinamizawa syndrome never existed? So my grandfather's name will never be revered by anyone. The sound of rustling papers and hushed proceedings filled the meeting room, but I only heard the ticking clock as I clutched my sweating palms. Portakano. Huh, the background changed. Okay. I guess you can go to disappointment now then. Keep it on the same tracks.
今日はこれくらいにしようか。気が乗らないみたいだからね。
あら、そんなことはないのよ。そう見えたならごめんなさいね。
Takano-san has been looking through the viewfinder, but I haven't seen her push the shutter at all. While she came along, I don't think she's in the mood for birdwatching. Takano-san has been depressed ever since the announcement of the new policies at the board meeting the other day. That's understandable. The Irie Institute was created by her in the first place. It was created so that she can devote her life to researching Hinamizawa syndrome. For all that to be tossed aside while asking to wrap up work within a few years, of course she's depressed. Besides, she can't even fully spend the rest of the time left on research. Their funding was being cut in stages, and by the end they'll barely be able to finish closing up, let alone research anything. I heard she's the granddaughter of the late Dr. Takano. Her determination to finish her grandfather's research is what kept her going until today. Since everything has been going so smoothly until recently, this sudden change in the wind's direction must have been a total shock. The shift in people pulling the strings must be pretty serious. The board of directors was completely changed out, and she heard that people and projects influenced by the Kazumi faction were being restructured to set an example. The wind's new direction seems likely to remain for a long time. It's highly unlikely that the Koizumi faction will come back into power, so no matter what we say, it's almost impossible to expect the same kind of support from them.
もうどうにもならないのかしら。
Takano-san muttered. Unfortunately, there isn't. There's nothing anybody can do.
最初理事会では即時研究を中止という話も出たんだ。それをなんとか納得させて数年間で段階的に終了というところまで勝ち取ってくれたんだよ。
So I get the feeling this is why she wanted to create the disaster in the fifth year, because they're running out of funding for their research.
入江機関発足で僕たちを世話してくれた人たちがね。
なるほど。一見最悪と思えるこの状況も、それでも陰で誰かが勝ち取ったギリギリの成果なのね。
それで勝ち取った期間がせいぜい3年なんだ。僕も一応努力はしたんだよ。高野さんが今日までに作った資料を理事会に説明し、とても重要な研究であることをアピールしたつもりなんだけど。
それでも3年でおしまいなのね。
Maybe Takano-san doesn't understand how hard I tried to convince him. Because what she just said tells me the length of time left really doesn't matter to her. The important thing is that her research is being stopped. The fact is, I couldn't meet her expectations, and made her feel disappointed. As a man, it kind of hurts.
僕にできることは、せめて研究が畳まれるまでの数年間、心残りがないよう研究できるだけの予算をつけるための根回しをしてあげることだけだ。ごめん。こんな。
いいのよ。それが二郎さんにできる精一杯なのなら、それでとても嬉しいもの。
Her words hurt me. I wish she'd chosen different ones, but I think that would be asking too much from someone so heartbroken. I must be understanding of her pain at a time like this. Besides, I know how close she was to the deceased Kazumi-sensei. She even called him uncle. To her, his death is not just the start of a coup, or a change in direction. She lost a person who was always looking after her. No matter how hard she pushed herself to act villainous, she wasn't supposed to be a part of this world. She was just an ordinary woman. But she was intrigued by Hinazawa syndrome, and she had to find help from someone who had more power than her to be able to continue research on it. The dark side of the world she should never have gotten involved in, extended its hands out to her. She was left all by herself in that world, and she's still trying to put on a brave face. Sure, Takano-san thinks I'm unreliable. Realistically, I'm not the kind of person who can meet her expectations, nor do I have the power to. The least I can do for her is stay sincere and remain her ally until the very end. Since she had so much room to act, it's harder for her to determine what actions to take when she's cornered. I wanted to believe she wouldn't, but I'm concerned she might do something drastic eventually. I hope I can be of more help to her in that very final moment before she makes her move. But I can't even gain enough trust from her to do that. How pitiful and pathetic. Of course, part of it is, as a man, I want her to rely on me. Well, that's not really it. She's been abandoned in this world and is all alone, so someone has to be her ally. And if I'm the only one who knows about that, then being her ally is my job. I know her too well, so I know that she'll never ask for help. Even if she says it's unnecessary, someone has to be with her. I know that. I don't really think I'm suited for that job. I'm sure that there are many reliable people out there who are more appropriate for the position than me. But I can't let her be alone until that person appears.
高野さん、僕は 全然頼りがいもないし、みっともない男かもしれないけど。
何突然。どうしたの二郎さん。
それでも頼ってもらえたらきっと力になれることもあると思うんだ。だから。
ありがとう。でも私、喋るだけでも心が軽くなるっていうのをあまり信じてないの。
そうかい。ならいいんだ。僕はずっと味方だから、それだけは信じていてほしいな。
もちろん信じてるわ。理事会をうまく説得できる方法があったらぜひ教えてね。
He was going to say something else, perhaps?
僕なりにも努力してみるよ。
Why is it? No, she's such a strong person. There's nothing someone like me can do for her. But somehow, I feel she needs help and support right now. She looks as tough as ever, but only I, who's been taking pictures of her all this time, can tell. A viewfinder is, after all, is also a window to look into someone's heart. But if I say something like that, she'll tease me again, so I won't. Anyway, I never thought she needed support more strongly than I do right now. So, beginning to get why she's creating the curse. I can't look through the logs. I forget which medicine it is. So we might be doing this next time. I mean, alternatively, I could just put it off as long as possible until there's nothing else remaining. We don't have that yet. See, first, second, third. So this is the fourth year. We don't have that yet. So we can't do this one yet. So I think we might actually go for this one next, and then so this is definitely before this. So this will be the Ryugu family move. And then, yeah, we've already had the watermelon. That was with Rika, so probably do these two next time. Yeah, it's definitely progressing. Then we'll be getting onto the fragments after that. And finally, the fragment of Matsuribayashi. So we will have the whole picture put together, I guess. Yeah, I think we need to finish all of these. Like all of these ones before we can move on to these. And this is the very last part. So we've got the fourth year. I think apart from maybe this one, I think we are done with the third year and everything before that. So the rest of what we have left is just the fourth year and the fifth year. With Keiichi arriving. Left. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So 5 or 6 parts before we start getting into the fragments, I think. Yeah, in any case, I will be ending it here for today. I hope you all enjoyed. Let me know any feedback you have in the comments. And until next time, see ya.